sense organs are the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the skin. These organs detect signals from the outside world by means of the 5 basic senses, that is, vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. In addition to being the sensory organ associated with touch, the skin also detects heat, cold, and pain. The human eyeballs are housed in a bony cavity. They are protected by the eyelids, lacrimal glands, and conjunctiva. Light passes through the eye via a transparent medium until it reaches the retina, that is, the eye's innermost layer. The light reaching the eye generates impulses in receptors in the retina, which are transmitted to the cerebral cortex via the optic nerve. The outer ear, middle ear, and inner ear all play a role in perceiving sound. The auricle helps determine the direction of sound and is responsible for transmitting it. The sound reaches the middle ear via the external auditory canal, where it causes the auditory ossicles to vibrate. The vibration finally spreads to the inner ear and generates electric impulses in the receptors located on the basilar membrane in the cochlea. These impulses are transmitted to the auditory cortex via cochlear nerve fibers. It is only the inner ear that is responsible for the sense of balance. Receptors in the semicircular canals located in the inner ear are responsible for detecting the position of the head and its movement. When odors are detected, particles in the air enter the nasal cavity and stimulate receptors in the nasal epithelium located there. Different receptors are sensitive to different odors. Impulses produced in the receptors reach the olfactory bulb and are transmitted to the cerebral cortex via fibers in the olfactory tract. The taste receptors found on the surface of the tongue and on the mucous membrane in the oral cavity detect the flavors of food and convert them into impulses. On the surface of the tongue, there are papillae, which are surrounded by trenches filled with saliva. Flavors dissolve into the saliva and diffuse to the taste receptors. The impulses produced in the receptors are transmitted to the cortical taste center through cranial nerves 7, 9, and 10. The skin covering the outer surface of the human body is our largest organ, comprising about 15 to 20% of the average body mass. The skin consists of several layers, some of which contain receptors that detect heat, cold, and mechanical and chemical stimuli. Receptors are not evenly distributed in the body. The skin on our fingertips, for example, contains a large number of receptors for fine touch. The soles of our feet, however, have a high density of receptors that detect strong pressure. The impulses formed in the receptors in the skin are transmitted to the brainstem or to the spinal cord via sensory nerves. The information is processed in the sensory cortex of the cerebrum.